A big question that you might be asking yourself right now is, what should I do with my 401k? Today, I want to share with you a process of reviewing the stock-based investments that may be in your 401k. My name is Van Richards. I'm a chartered financial consultant, and I design financial plans that help people to avoid running out of money in retirement. Now, first, I would like to stress that since we are talking about your retirement accounts, it's really important to emphasize that we're discussing money that's going to be used for the long term. Now, investments that are longer term don't really trade very frequently. And before you do review your investments, it's critical that you consider when you're actually going to use that money. Will it be in a shorter time period, maybe 5 years? Or maybe will it be in a longer time period, as long as 30 or more? How you answer that question will help you to determine how you should invest, or maybe how you shouldn't invest. Now, to help my clients to determine the best timing of using their retirement savings, I use a planning process that I've developed over the years called a retirement income financial plan. You can read the details of the process of that plan on my website at richardsfinancialplanning.com. Today, however, I'm going to talk about the potential risk of stock investments and how you may be able to manage your risk better. Now, some people might be thinking it's really time to abandon stocks. And rather than me stand here and try to persuade you to do something that you really don't want to do, I want to encourage you to look at your 401k from a personal risk tolerance level. If stocks just scare the daylights out of you and you don't want to take the risk of stocks, then look at a fixed account strategy. Consider more conservative investments, maybe something like government zero coupon bonds or bond ladders or annuities might be a better way for you to manage your retirement savings. Now, the coronavirus pandemic has really shown how risky the stock market can be. If you look very closely, you will see that the pandemic has affected some companies' profitability different than other companies. Now, if you do want to include stocks in your retirement strategy, here's an approach that may help you to manage the risk. Begin by grouping the stocks in investments based on how the coronavirus pandemic has affected them. You can start by putting the investments into 3 different groups. The stocks that are going to be in group number 1, I would really consider aggressive investments. When we get to group number 2, they're going to be more aggressive. And then by the time that we get down to group number 3, these are going to be investments that are just downright risky. And you'll see what I mean here in just a moment. But understand this, that all investments have the potential for loss. To begin the review process, look at the investments and determine which investment has been unaffected by the pandemic. Now, there are actually companies that have benefited from this crisis, and those would be the ones that I put in group number 1. Companies like technology companies. Some pharmaceutical companies may go in this category as well. Now, let's also look at investments that go into group number 2. Companies in group number 2 are companies that initially did have a big drop in value, but they have a fundamental long-term value. A good example of this is going to be companies that are in the energy sector. And most of the companies that are in the energy sector lost about half of their value when oil plummeted. Now, that sector's decline was not just because of the coronavirus. A lot of the problems that was going on in the energy sector was because of the trade war that was going on in between OPEC and Russia and other countries too. Now, this should be an industry that does recover over the long term. But please don't take this information as that I'm trying to encourage you to time the recovery. You have to take a longer term perspective on this strategy. Now, another industry that may improve well over time is going to be basic materials sectors. This includes businesses such as chemicals, metals, mining, steel, agriculture, and building materials. When we get to the third group, you can consider that these are companies that have been significantly hurt by the COVID-19 crisis. This group will be like travel-related companies, airlines and cruise companies. Group 3 may include some entertainment businesses also that rely upon crowds, luxury jewelers, and clothing manufacturers. Just recently, retailer JCPenney announced that it would be closing all 850 stores and furloughing nearly 95,000 employees. Now, how well that businesses in the third group perform will really depend on how long that they can survive with very little profits or even zero profits. Now, once you've determined which investments go into which groups, go back and really think about the risk and volatility that you can tolerate. You can add or eliminate investments based on this strategy and what you feel that you can tolerate. Remember that almost all stock investments will lose about 1/3 at a time. Now, to help my clients to be more methodical about this process, I create an investment policy statement or an income statement that helps them to review the investments as time goes by. And these statements are written documents that actually give the logic and the guidance as to why that the investments are bought or sold. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of the process. An important point to consider is that because of the coronavirus pandemic, has your risk tolerance maybe changed? If it has changed, then the review process that I've described to you here today may help you to find a mix of investments that fits your retirement goals better and fits your personal comfort level of risk even better. Thank you for taking a few moments to listen to my opinions. My name is Van Richards, and I design financial plans that help people to avoid running out of money in retirement. If you would like to talk a little bit about how my retirement planning process might help you, please visit my website at richardsfinancialplanning.com, and you can schedule a time for a free conversation with me. Please remember that this information is not a recommendation to buy or sell any specific investments. The past performance investments is not a guarantee of their future performance. It's important that you read all the documentation and the prospectuses to understand the risk and the fees of investing before you do invest. Have a great day.